All right. Hello, I'm Karina Heim. I'm the Coastal Training Program Coordinator at the Lake Superior National Estuarine Research Reserve, and I'm representing the Greener Shore Science Transfer Grant Project. So this is a project that is very much a joint effort between our reserve, the Great Lakes Indian Fish and Wildlife Commission, or GLFWIC as they are known, the Lake Superior Research Institute, and also the Marketing and Communications team at UW-Madison's Division of Extension. And with this 2-year project, our aim is to present a new planting guidance resource to Wisconsin Lake Superior shoreline stewards. The guide that we intend to develop will introduce appropriate plants for restoration in our coastal environments here along the south shore of Lake Superior. And the approach we are taking is that we really aim to elevate Ojibwe cultural perspectives alongside institutional science in this work. So along the south shore of Gitchigami, which is the Ojibwe-Moan word for Lake Superior, humans have altered the landscape significantly since the time of colonization, and plant communities that held the earth together for a very long time have been disrupted. Climate change is adding additional stress to the landscape, and with more frequent and severe storm events, we're seeing more erosion risks and impacts at the shoreline. One tool we have to protect our coastal landscapes is to restore plant communities in coastal environments. And we've seen that there's a lot of motivation to do this work, but not a lot of explicit guidance in this region about what plants to consider and where to plant them. But our outreach tells us that land stewards are interested in restoration work and in applying nature-based solutions. And so land stewards really are our primary end users of this planting guide resource. And by that, we mean private landowners, also the entities that manage coastal public lands, such as parks and natural resource departments, and also the professionals that are directly connected with the community advising on land regulations and permitting for development or restoration work. Our reserve and GLFWIC are also end users of this resource, along with other outreach organizations, and we intend to incorporate this planting guide resource into our programming as an education tool. The guide we are creating considers all of the plant communities that are present along the coast of Gitchigami, and will profile some recommended species to consider. Our intention from the beginning has been to do this in a way that honors the relationships that Ojibwe people hold with plants and the long legacy of Anishinaabe stewardship of this place. This intention has very important implications for our process and the final product of our work. This project began with explicit outreach to the 3 Lake Superior Ojibwe bands in the project area, where we sought guidance to identify knowledge holders who could inform the project. And with input from the tribes, we've convened a cultural advisory committee who've been generous with their time and knowledge and have gently steered us towards some ideas and away from others during the project's knowledge gathering phase in this first year. The guide will feature information that you might expect to see in a plant restoration resource, such as root depths and sun and soil needs. This is a material lens that is a very important way of understanding plants and restoration, but it also differs from the way that Ojibwe culture views plants as relatives and beings that are more than human. So this slide shows some of the institutional and cultural knowledge gathering and blending we've been working on for the past 9 months. With a lot of consultation and thinking, we're narrowing in on respectful ways to incorporate cultural knowledge transfer, which at times means being very explicit about the harms of colonization, and at other times means being deliberately vague about culturally important plant uses. And we just really hope to honor multiple ways of knowing and also strengthen all people's relationships to plants through this guide and this work. This project brings a lot of experienced, thoughtful people together who are also new to working together. And so this image shows our process and shows how we are layering different expertise into our project's timeline. The plant ecologist Kelly from the Lake Superior Research Institute has in this first year developed an amazing coastal plant database that has given us an organized foundation to build on, and it's helped us identify some keystone plants in each plant community. And we've added to this list by considering plant gifts through a cultural lens as well. And so where we're at now is we've arrived at a list of 92 plants that we intend to profile in this guide. During this first year's knowledge gathering phase, we've been convening a cultural advisory committee, as I mentioned, that's been checking our progress and helping us pivot when we need to do that. The graphic design expertise involved in this project, our teammates there have been integrated from the start so we can anticipate design challenges early on. And so that at the end of this first year, our goal is to have completed content development for the guide and sought input from end users reviewing the content we've developed. And then in the second year, it's on to design and final review and releasing the guide itself. So at the end of the second year, we'll print and release the guide and accompany it with a workshop, which if we can time it right in these northern climates, I hope we can get folks out on the landscape connecting with plants as part of the release of this guide. I'll just sort of end with how restoration is about healing the land, but it's also about healing people. It's been humbling and wonderful to be a part of this project and this work. I think we've come a long way so far in our first year, and with the skills and knowledge held by this team, I think we're finding our way and we're on a good path. So I'll end by offering myself as a contact for this project if there are any questions. I'll say miigwech, thank you to the project team, the Cultural Advisory Committee, and to the Science Collaborative for supporting this work.